Up next on Inside ChampCar, minimum talent wins something. Welcome to Inside ChampCar. Brian is off to Road America to cover the SCCA runoffs. I'm Bill Strong, and I'm not at the runoffs. I'm actually sitting here with Franck Guilloteau. I have to get that right. Franck Guilloteau and Zinnia Hathiram. And I will call you Zinnia and Franck. That's going to be easy for me. First off, I want to start off by sending out our heartfelt care for the folks in North Carolina. Seems like it gets worse and worse every time I look at Facebook. Now they've got a dam breaking or overflowing now over there. So it's not good. We do have a couple of teams with Lemons and with ChampCar that are sending out aid and such over to the folks in North Carolina. So contact me if you guys want to help out, and I'll get you in touch with Ray Franck, and he has contacts there. So I know that Speedy Cop with 24 Hours of Lemons, he's actually got a lot of folks moving out there to help, and some other folks in the auto industry took helicopters out and trucks and four-wheelers and all kinds of stuff. So trying to get aid out to these folks. All right, back to where we were just at. We were just at Harris Hill Raceway, just south of Austin, Texas, east of San Marcos, Texas. One of my favorite places to go to each year, probably because of the food, the people, the track owners. Bo and the guys there are just so welcoming, and it's such a great place. And you guys also, Franck, let me start out with you. You run a place, a lot of folks call it the Mad Scientist Garage. You've got a lot of projects in there. Every time I go in there, there's different ones. First off, the first one I saw was a mid-engine Mini. You have a McLaren that you found on an auction site somewhere, broken. You put it back together. It tried to escape from your shop at one point, about tore down the door. You've got a Italian carbon fiber something or another. What is that? The Alpha
4C.
Yeah, Alpha 4C that was wrecked, and you're putting that back together. You had a bunch of Citroens. I love the Citroen. You know, the 1970 Citroen CX, was it?
No. It's the SM. But
SM, that's it. SM. So you had a bunch of those. I don't know if you have those anymore. Those are
a couple of them.
So why don't you race those?
Well, you know what? One of them used to be a Lemons car. So it was raced, but it wasn't raced by me.
Right.
Fortunately. So, just wait. It's a matter of time. Bo decides that it'd be a great idea to revive it and take it out on the track and embarrass ourselves.
Right. Let me make sure we got sound. I think we do. All right. I started this off wrong. Franck, we know kind of how Zinnia got started, but we're going to start off with you. How did you get started in this crazy stuff called motorsports?
Well, it goes back probably the day when I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I had a pedal car and right around the house. But motorsport for me has always been about re-engineering or redesigning something. So the first memories of my parents remind me when I was 4 is I think I found a bucket of paint and I decided to repaint my pedal car. And because I didn't want to get caught, I decided to hide it in the closet where they put the winter clothes. And I'll let you guess what happened to all the bottoms of the outfits, but basically that was my first foray in trying to do something that would improve the performance of the vehicle, because we all know a better painted car is faster.
Yeah.
So that was my first foray into high performance pedal car racing. Subsequently, I did a little bit of rallying in Brazil, where I lived for a period of time. Came to the US and was lucky enough to join a Formula SAE team. So UT Austin, where I went to school for engineering, had a great program, was actually started by Professor Ron Matthews back in the early 80s. And without dating myself, I was there in 87. So it was still a pretty fresh program. and we built the first carbon fiber tub that SAE ever had. Yeah, so that's that. I'm giving you a clue into the whole carbon fiber thing, which no doubt you will accuse me of using and cheating with. And so we did that. We built a carbon fiber solar car, which required some pretty unique prep, because if anybody knows anything about electricity and carbon, it actually contacts pretty significantly. So we had a couple of mishaps, a car almost catching on fire, the usual stuff, so that was a kind of a great foray for me to start appreciating motorsport. And I did some Formula 2000, some Spec Miatas, and then eventually joined Harrisville Raceway, where we started club racing back in, I think it was about 2011. We did the first, I guess, championship with 3 cars. I think it was 3 or 4 cars. So we all got a medal in the end. So very proud of that. But it was 914, Porsche 914s that were known to be highly reliable cars.
Yes.
So basically we were testing, those cars for about 2 years until we sorted them out. But that was kind of my slow uptake to then do more of the champ racing and finding something that was fun, because you could be very creative in interpreting the rules, and deciding, how much the officials really meant what they put in writing versus, what was considered acceptable. So that led me to a couple of projects. One of them was a Mini, which, you mentioned. But I am fortunate to have team members that are even more crazy than me, or at least my initial team members. You mentioned Bo. Bo is you give him a bad idea, he'll be the first to pursue it. Bill Hamilton, that's always ready to join in. And in order to balance out the old ugly guys, what do? We put in Zinnia. So ever since, I don't know, maybe you've been 16, we've been kind of trying to convince her that hanging around with old guys can be actually a lot of fun. So
I remember one of the first races she did was she could barely see over the steering wheel. She's just a little thing.
Oh. And she I think is one of those very disciplined individuals, because I would see her showing up at least 2 or 3 times a week and just lapping her Miatas, and always kind of very positive attitude, very serious. Yeah, that's changed since, but
well, she went off to college, and
well, that's probably hasn't helped, or at least not what I've heard.
Yeah. So Zinnia, how did you get start in racing? How'd you get your start?
So I was interested in cars like 14, 15, like wasn't a thing in my family at all. Just kind of like got into it, was like excited to get my permit and be able to drive myself around. And like went to a few like little car meets with friends, and then went to like a bigger racing event at COTA and just like fell in love with the sport. And being from Austin, there's kind of like a lot of opportunity around just with motorsport. So I like spent a while just like trying to search what was like, I guess, the best way to kind of get my start without spending an insane amount of money. And that's what led me to Harris Hill and like the Miata series. And that's where I met Franck too.
Yeah. Now, when you
first day in her life, but
now, when you first started racing, what was that like to get out there for your first race? Was that kind of scary with all those cars around?
It was pretty scary.
I'm talking to Franck.
No, you're talking to Franck?
Yes, well, that's why we put big bumpers on those cars.
Yeah.
No, Zinnia, please answer the question. God, I'm not scared of anything.
That's funny. Yeah. So what was that like?
It was a little scary, but not too bad. I feel like I had like prepared myself pretty well, and like practiced a lot, like just like after school and on the weekends, like even just like with one other person, just trying to get used to being close to other cars. So it was like a little like nerve-wracking, but it was mostly just like exciting.
So
Bill, I will add that you drive from Austin to Harris Hill Raceway and you're on I-35, which is basically a racetrack.
racetrack, yeah. Is that the one that's 85 miles an hour, America's fastest piece of road?
Yeah, and you got drivers that I'm not going to comment on the ChampCar drivers, but
Yeah.
they're even less than that. So it's good practice to keep you with things and what's coming up to you. So
Yeah.
I think that's probably where she got a lot of her skills, actually.
From the highway.
So Harris Hill is kind of a really laid back club. You can get out there and do your lap after lap after lap. You can do it clockwise, anti-clockwise, and just have fun with it. Now, Frank, being from Brazil, you know, everybody from Brazil wants to be Ayrton Senna. Do you ever feel like you're Ayrton Senna out there?
So, Bill, here's the problem. I'm French.
Yes.
So even though I lived in Brazil, I do prefer Prost. So I will say that
right.
many times I feel like I'm Prost, but not as disciplined.
Okay, we're gonna turn this off right now. How do you? No, just kidding. So
no, and Ayrton Senna. I lived in Brazil.
No, I know.
When Nelson Piquet was a big deal,
yeah.
and Ayrton Senna was just coming up in the ranks, and people forget that Nelson Piquet won 3 championships.
Yep.
So he's a somebody.
He's not forgotten.
Was a different character.
Yeah.
So
and then you had Fittipaldi as well. So he had a lot of great Brazilian racers.
Yes. So, but I'm French, so I will stick to the guy that won more than them, which is Paul.
He was good. Yeah, he was good.
He was good.
Yeah.
So, but you know, I will say, you know, part of motorsport, especially when you're not doing it professionally, it's really the community around it.
Yeah.
And as you point out, Harris Hill is a great way of getting your adrenaline rush and but more importantly, meeting really kind of fun, entertaining people. So, you know, the owner is very laid back, still follow the rules and safety.
Yeah.
But I've met some of my favorite people, including I have to throw a kind of a shout out to part of the minimum talent team who ran last what was it, last weekend?
Yeah, last week.
And we've been able to enjoy taking the car to other tracks that you guys are hosting. So for us, it was kind of a stepping stone to do something more. And it transcends age, because look at Zinnia has been hanging around with us for I've lost, you know, I'm getting that old, like at least 5 or 6 years. So yeah, it's an awesome place. And I really kind of value the community there. That's where you have some of the best friends. So yeah.
Now, Zinnia, was Frank one of your you're doing engineering? Is it mechanical engineering?
Yes.
Yeah. So did Frank actually kind of help push you that way, or your dad, or you just wanted to do that?
I think I kind of got into it because of racing, because I was sort of like, what major would, I guess, relate to like motorsports and stuff, because I was interested in like how the cars worked and stuff like that. So I think I found it that way, but I think like being around people like Frank and other people around the track definitely like made me more inspired, or I guess motivated to do it.
Cool. And do you plan on going into the motorsport side of it, or if you kind of, because you've been doing this a couple of years now, you're 3rd year now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you found a better path, or are you going to stick with the motorsport side?
I definitely would like to do stuff in motorsports. I think there's a lot of like really cool options with that degree. But I'd love to like be able to travel with like a cool series, or just be able to be at a bunch of racetracks, because that's always nice.
Right. And, you know, Chelsea Vickery also is one of the IMSA, you know, race directors. I wouldn't say big rigs, but yeah.
Coda.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, she was at Coda recently. Yeah. So Frank, you guys built a Mini, and it's not a typical Mini. It's a BMW Mini. When I think of Mini, I think of the British Leyland, the little tiny things. I had a whole bunch of them when I lived in England. Love them. My favorite one was 1000cc. You know, a lot of people like the 1275 Coopers or whatever, but my favorite was my 1000cc Mini from 1970, I think it was. Might have been 73. Who knows? But you guys built a BMW Mini, and it's a little bigger, based on it's a front wheel drive, but you've customized the body a little bit, and that thing is quick. Well, you've got little spats on, or little fender flares, and big surfboard on the back of it, and
it's not aero.
It's not aero. So you know, you're really talented with your composites, with laying carbon fiber wrap.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
you know, Bill, I have to say, you know, 90% of racing is intimidation.
Yeah.
So for me, when we started that project, I'm like you. I grew up in England. My mom had a Mini. We probably had 4 or 5 of the original ones, and I've always found them to be a hoot.
Yeah.
BMW did a pretty good job of doing I think, an interpretation of it. And when I saw that the rules allowed the R56, and actually Beau Rivers is the one that came to me with that original project, and without digressing too much, for some reason I ended up with a car dealership, and all I was selling was Minis, and I did fun. And it was a side project. I had another job.
Right.
So I had a lot of Minis, different flavors. I always found it fascinating car. So when you guys added it to as a car, I looked at the rules, and you know, it has a direct injected engine, which is really a really good base for power without having to do any internal mods. The only drawback is the weight and front wheel drive. So our first iteration of it in 2018, I think it was, with Beau and Bill, was a heavy car that chewed through tires, that Bill managed to catch on fire.
Yeah.
So credit to him. And that's another Bill, not you.
Yeah, no, I remember that, actually. That was
we ran it a couple of times. It wasn't that successful, and one of my teammates, Beau, decided that we should build an Insight with an engine swap. So the car was parked, and then I had 3 other members at the track who, again, part of this community, wanted to do more. Mark Fairworth, Grant Guilloteau, and Todd Kans. I have to say their names, otherwise they're going to feel like I left them out.
Yeah.
We decided we would do bucket list tracks. So wherever you guys decided to go, we would go to the places we wanted. So we got a couple of Minis. So I took that one and decided to gut it. And because everyone thought that we were putting carbon fiber parts on the car, because I do build a lot of carbon fiber parts, we wrapped it in carbon fiber. So ever since we've been going around, everybody's been basically saying that the car is built out of carbon fiber, which is wishful thinking, considering you've made it very clear that carbon fiber is not legal.
You know, I'm blaming our media team for spreading those rumors, you know, because that's what they do. These guys that work in ChampCar media.
Well, yes, you just told me what you did in order to circumvent the rules. So I tried to do that, but yeah, I didn't want to get too much trouble and get us disqualified again, because we've been known to be disqualified, whether it's with Beau or with this team. Anyway,
you know, if you're not trying, you're not winning. Isn't that how it goes, or something like that?
Yes.
I always found that with racing, with our type of racing, it was always fun to be creative, and just it's a learning experience. You know, how far can I push this rule? How far can I stretch this fuel tank? I'm sorry. How much can?
That's what we tried to to Zinnia, but fortunately, she's the reasonable one in this whole
right
whole ecosystem where she reminds us to behave.
Yeah.
So it's.
I've seen her drive. She's pretty damn good out there. Who put in the FTD there? You guys had a fastest time of day on Sunday, or actually both days.
Yeah, that was a 124 even, which you know, for a ChampCar is more than reasonable, considering you've got guys driving around in GT3 RSs doing 128s, 129s, thinking they just are ready for Le Mans.
Yeah.
So Todd Kans, who's I'd say that our second best driver, put it in. I wasn't driving, that's why I didn't get.
Oh, there you go.
But and we Zinnia and I have a little bit of a banter because whenever we drive together, I make sure that she doesn't get the best time. So look,
you give her the tires when they're about done.
Maybe.
Yeah. But she's still pretty damn quick. So, So Danny, what's Danny's last name?
Sufi.
Yeah, so Danny's Sufi. Harris Hill was one of the first tracks I went to that was small, other than Nelson Ledges, small track. Everybody's super friendly. Everybody knows everybody's name. And, I see this little kid like out driving cars. We're at Coda and I see this, the GT3, whatever this thing was just my dream car, turbo, the whole bit, or it might've been a GT4. And I see it roll up at Coda and they're doing the track day, where they're giving people rides around the track. And now I look in the driver's seat and there's this little kid driving the car. And you have that realization, like, what have I done wrong in my life? That, I got this 12-year, I think he was 12 at the time, driving this car. Now his parents basically sent him to Harris Hill whenever it rained, all the time, just to get track time. Now, Zinnia, did you do that too? Because you started racing about the same time Danny did, didn't you? Or a couple of years later?
I didn't start racing till I was like 15, so a bit later. But I still tried to get out to the track whenever I could. I guess I had more responsibility as a 15-year-old than Danny did when he was 8. But
yeah,
I definitely skipped some class in high school to go to the track.
Yeah, that's funny. And all the guys at the track probably reinforced all that. Get out there and drive.
Definitely.
Did you have a lot of coaching there with those guys?
I honestly, I feel like I was coached the most by Danny when I first started. But everyone around there was always there to help if I just had a question or wanted to go look at the map of the track and ask about lines or something. So it's really nice to just have people around everywhere that I could ask for help.
Now, what's really cool is you have Harris Hill there, and just a few miles over is Coda, one of the premier tracks in North America. You've raced on there, obviously, right? Because that is local to you, or at least on track days.
I've driven there, but I haven't raced there.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're gonna try and go back there one of these days.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Bill, but there was a time where Champ went there.
Yes, I was there. I've been to all of them.
And needling you about organizing an event there. So.
Yeah, the problem was, and I want to say we think, was that the cost just got so much that it would have broke ChampCar. The same thing kind of happened with the SCCA. The cost was just so high they couldn't return there. From what I understand, there may be different people there now, so who knows what opportunities lie ahead for us. I would love to go back to Coda. That's one of the premier tracks in the U.S. And when we say that ChampCar races at premier tracks, Coda would be one of them. So, who knows? We'll try for 2026, see what happens. And, Zinnia will be out of school, or maybe, and, she can come race. So, all right. So the Mini, you've got the McLaren. So tell us a little story about that McLaren, because I think that's such a fun story. So first off, how you bought this thing.
Bill, you're really putting me on the spot. And so I have a certain affinity for cars.
Yeah.
So I have several cars, and not that I have a drinking problem, but I do enjoy the occasional glass of wine or martini late in the evenings. And, what's more exciting than to peruse auction sites with cars that really want,
right,
and put random bids in, knowing that you'll never get the final bid amount.
Right.
So it was one of those late nights where I'd been working and I put in a bid for a McLaren 720S with 153 miles that somebody had decided to take off-road. Those things happen, especially with those cars, because there are a lot of cars and not a lot of drivers can handle them.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I'll just bid that amount. And then I went to bed, and I actually bid on 2. I woke up the next day and I had one, and the other one I was negotiating out. So I ended up with potentially 2 cars, and it was just before COVID, and I was bored. So I decided, let's turn this into an Uber track car, take something that's a really good base. That was basically brand new. Um, take all the parts that you can take off, replace them with carbon fiber, add another 300 and so horsepower, and see what the result will be. Add a lot of aero, and it's actually quite impressive.
Somebody
So
somebody told me you got out of the car the first time at Coda and said this car's going to kill me. Is that true?
Well, it is extremely fast, and you get to a certain point in your life where you're more in life preservation mode than like, let's see whether you can really beat the lap record. It's definitely something that's very, very, very quick. It's, again, I'm not going to put numbers on there,
Right.
but on street tires, it's faster than probably,
Yeah.
easily in the 211s, and on slicks, it'd probably be a 105. And I did it on DOT tires at the lowest power settings. So you've got a lot of room to go. And I realized, when you're doing, 185, 187 on the back straight, things can happen. And I was like, well, this is stupid. But
that's funny because you think about that, because I drove a car like that one last year, and you think, oh yeah,
that's stupid.
Can I really? Yeah, this is gonna hurt. and you tend to back off a bit, but that's the difference between a real race. Yeah,
because it's a very easy car to drive, even with the nannies off.
Yeah.
But I've moved on to another project. So the next project is a 4C with 850 horsepower, weighing 1,500 pounds, and let's see what we can do out of it.
Yeah, it might be fast. Zinnia, have you driven the McLaren?
I have a few times, and it was honestly very scary how fast it was, especially at Harris Hill with all the bumps and like no long straight. It's like everything comes so quickly, but it was really, really fun.
So how do you process that? Because you would normally drive a Miata or, something not as fast. So how does your brain, work driving a car like that? I mean, does it?
It definitely takes a little bit to adjust. And I think like in a Miata, you're so used to like immediately just like mashing throttle because you have like no power. And in a car like the McLaren, you have to be like very gentle getting back on throttle, which definitely takes a minute to realize. But yeah, I mean, after a little while, you get used to it, and it's like still a race car, just faster.
So what's that like getting back into a Miata then after that?
It's a little sad, but it's still a Miata. It's still fun, but it's definitely, you get back in your Miata, I'm like, did my Miata just lose like 20 horsepower? Like, why is it so slow now?
Right. Yeah, that's funny. So what's in next in the cards for ChampCar there, Frank? I mean, are you going to bring out that mid-engine Mini at any time?
Well, I'm waiting for you guys to update the list. So yeah, the mid-engine Mini, technically it's a 2008 build. So it is, because pieces of it are 2008.
Pieces.
So I don't know. Maybe
6 bolts and 4 nuts.
Official, but because I have to be transparent, it does run a 2012 chassis part of it. So until we update that list, where I think currently minis can only go to 2009.
Hold on a second. Let me look, because
wow.
I think I saw something on there that was 2012. Let me go over to the forum wherever I put this thing.
Yeah. And then the other thing I'll have to do is hide all the carbon fiber that I've put on it. Unless you decide to change the rules and allow carbon fiber.
So they allow the 2012 Mini Cooper S. 2011 to 2013, 350 points.
Okay, well then, good. Hopefully my team will be interested in pursuing that.
I'd love to see that, though. That's, anything mid-engine I like. And
it's been evolved because now it's center drive.
Yeah, yeah.
So we put the steering wheel in the middle because we could.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it could be very entertaining.
So
And again, that's all we're about. We're not about winning.
No.
Winning is just the byproduct of what we do. We just like to have fun and win.
Yeah, and win.
Take that.
So driving a center seated car, I drove Troy Trulio. So one night, we used to sit here on chat and just try to figure out how we can stretch the rules or do whatever. Figure out, just throwing out ideas. What do you think happens here? And I said, I really want to build a center seat MR2, mainly because the cockpit's so little that, you just don't have a lot of room. Your helmet hits the roll bar up here. And so it's like, next thing I know, the guy's got he got one of my chassis and put I forget what the steering rack was out of, but a center basically just moved everything in the middle of the car. And oh my God, that's so much fun to drive. You just have so much room in there, first of all. And it's very different, but it's fun.
Yeah. So again, that's what we do. And, I will share with you that if you go into my garage, I don't know, it's been a while, but we have all those bottles of champagne lined up. And those are not a result of victories. We just celebrate the weekend. And, you can ask Zinnia because she partakes in a lot of the drinking.
Well, she's old enough now, though, so.
But again, that's part of the reason. So we don't take ourselves too seriously.
Right.
At the end of the day, again, we're very lucky to do this, and we're even more lucky when we have fun with other people. So, I've gone into it very much as I'm not going to be the next, Vettel or Franco Colapinto. I realized that a long time ago. So heck, it's just, having fun with guys like you. And I think Champ has done a really good job of balancing that. It's not hyper competitive, but it's not completely ridiculous like some of the other series used to be. So I think we're in a sweet spot and we enjoy doing it.
I don't know. When you come out east and some other places, you do see that a little bit of that hyper competitive aspect of it, and you see it online a lot. But it is still fun. You talk to these guys that run an IMSA where it is hyper competitive, and it's hyper competitive because there's so much money on the line. And you look at them and they just laugh at us like, we have fun in ChampCar. This is just a fun thing to do. But then you got guys like, let's just say me, that this is the highest we're ever going to get in racing. This is it. This is our Indy 500. This is our 24-hour Le Mans. This is it.
Zinnia, please make it stop there, Bill.
But Zinnia can move on. She's young. She's quick. She's, the young part is the big aspect of it. And Frank, you're young. You're younger than me, I believe. And as you age, it's just going to get harder and harder and harder.
Yeah. And so I will tell you, Bill, that again, what I like about, the Champ component is that we're not talking about spec cars, which you can do, spec Miata, spec, whatever. This actually has an element where, again, back to community, having a team that's going to work with you to build a car, and you can have fun. It's a cerebral challenge because you can interpret the rules, and you have your own creation that you go and take out. And if I kind of harken back to my youth in SAE, it's exactly the same thing. You've got a set of rules and then you interpret them and you build your car and you drive it. And so I'm more, 80% build, 20% drive, in part because I think I've plateaued in my skill sets. But it's a massive amount of fun if you're a gearhead.
Right.
Because you get to do things that, you probably wouldn't if you ran a spec series. You're just, polishing your rotors and making sure the windshield wiper fluid is full.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're straight up and down on the window to keep that aero perfect.
Something like that. But, we still do aero. I'll have you know.
Yes. I like aero.
Because the car is wider and it's got those little lips.
Yeah.
And you guys disqualified us for having these aero components on the side of the car.
You said they weren't aero components. They were curb feelers.
Exactly. And we need that when we're driving.
There's no curbs at Harris Hill.
Well, it depends how far you drive.
Yeah, true. We had a car. We did have a car almost find those curbs.
Well, one of them
turn
found a
10.
lake.
Yeah, that was last year. I found the effing lake.
Yeah.
I'm in the effing lake, and it's just like, what lake? And we're looking on the maps. Lake? There's no lake. And you look at Google Maps, it's like, oh, that circle thing. Yeah, the retention pond that's always dry, but it had water in it then. Yeah. That video is awesome, by the way. So everybody turned out right. It actually changed the way that we do stuff now. Because, we got the notification that, hey, there was a lake, car in the water. And it's like, we didn't know there was water there. So now we check at tracks. And if anybody ever says the car's in the water, it's like instant red flag, send everybody and we'll reassess. So that's always a good thing.
And they came back last race, was they not?
That's right, yeah.
So it was, that just shows they loved it and they were ready for more.
Yeah, and they brought the Ford back. Who knew that Fords could be so reliable? Go in a lake and then they're back out racing. So, yeah. All right, Zinnia, what's next for you?
I'm not sure. That's a good
you're
question.
at school now. Yeah, you're at school now. So
yeah. So right now I'm just focused on school. I'll be back in Texas for Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff. Hopefully do some driving then. And then hopefully do the March ChampCar race with Franck. And then I'm on the Formula SAE team here now. So I'll probably be working on that, which is exciting. So
you bypassed the ChampCar team and went straight to Formula SAE?
Yeah, I guess I was on their endurance team 1 year, and now I'm on the Formula team. I can still do stuff with the endurance team if I want. So we'll see, but
your SAE people said no.
Somewhere in there,
just stay away from those guys. They're bad influences.
They're coming to Road America, I think.
Yep, that's what I hear. Unfortunately, I won't be able to go there. My son's getting married. He had to ruin my racing weekend, so they couldn't plan it right. Yeah. So, all right. We're still early. Well, Frank, maybe you guys can hang around and we can talk about the schedule. So today we released the 2025 schedule, which you can go to champcar.org and scroll down a bit. You'll see a little link on there, 2025 schedule released. So the first race of the year is going to be Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta on February 8th. And then March 1st, we head off to VIR South for the 12-hour. Harris Hill then follows up. Harris Hill in San Marcos, Texas. And like I tell everybody, every time we mention Harris Hill, you need to go to Harris Hill and race. It is such a wild little track. It, when you look at the topography, the view of it from up top, just looks like a simple little, not a paper clip, but it just looks like a simple track. But you get there and you look at the elevation changes and the how fast that track is and how deceiving some of these turns are. As we see, as cars go out, was it turn 6? As they miss that turn out there, just going way too quick. And then turn 10, there's just so many the bumps. There used to be a jump between 3 and 4. Remember that?
Well, no, I have to give credit to the track team. It is in a place where, unfortunately, the ground moves a lot with the weather. If it rains or if we go through a drought. I always say it's an easy track to learn. It's a very difficult track to master because it's not a big track, but it's all about, incremental, where you position the car and a lot of off-camber corners and late apexes, things that, will throw you off. So,
and then you throw in other cars and that just makes it even harder.
So it's certainly and the nice thing is, you say, if you're a member, you run in both directions. So you've got kind of a nice little.
So what do you think of that? Because it's been brought up to us a few times about us maybe running, clockwise on Saturday and then anti-clockwise on Sunday.
So I think that, if it were not a safety issue and we were able to organize pit in and pit out without too many problems, it'd be a lot of fun. But, we do, and again, going back to what the community, we actually have club races with Zinnia. That's, we do this 2 45-minute races every month. And we do that. We change the direction. It gives us the opportunity to hone our skills and experience something different. I think it's a great track actually counterclockwise, because it's that much more challenging going down the hill. You're carrying more
Right.
speed, and the transition from 3 to 2 to 1 is actually really good. And then 11 is blind and you're flat out and you have to stop. So there are a lot of opportunities for great mistakes there. I've been known to miss that corner a few times. And Rod reminds me all the time, I actually have left,
Yeah.
marks going across the tip.
Yeah.
Just
As long as you stay away from the houses, you're all right. So,
yeah, no, I've yet to accomplish that goal, but
now, Zinnia, what do you think of that, running it counterclockwise? Sorry, I forget what country I'm in sometimes. What do you think of running it counterclockwise?
I think that'd be super fun. In the Miata races, when we do them, I really like it. I think when I was first learning Harris Hill, I had more trouble in that direction. I don't know why. I think it's really fun. I love like going up turn 4, and then like Frank said, 3, 2, 1 is like a little S's section. So it's definitely like its own track, and it would be like a whole new challenge if we did both directions.
Now, one thing I remember from my early days of racing back in the 80s, and I remember one pro racer talking about you need to walk the course backwards, because you'll see more, and you'll see little things that you wouldn't see running it the other way, which will help you run it. Does that come into play?
I think so, yeah. Like Frank said, like turn 11 being blind, you would never realize it would be like that till you drive it in that direction. And it's definitely pretty scary sometimes going in there flat, especially if you're racing other people. You don't know who's around the corner. But yeah, going both ways in the track definitely makes you like super comfortable. Helps you in both ways, because you're on a different line. You know where different bumps are when you're passing someone and stuff. It just makes you more familiar with the track.
Would you want to do that as the first race or the second race?
For ChampCar?
Yeah.
I guess you could do the other direction on Sunday, because everyone already knows. Get people warmed up the way they know, and then have them go the other way. I don't know what happens if you stick them straight onto the other direction. See what happens. Might be crazy.
Yeah.
Well, a challenge, Bill. I think it would definitely elevate the
Oh yeah.
the competition. And
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you've driven it.
I've only done it one way. Yeah, I've only done it the one way, and I had it was one of those Nissan, or not Nissan, Infinity 2-doors with a lot of horsepower, 400 plus horsepower, something like that. It was pretty badass. But I drove it before the repave, and you had those big bumps. So I remember coming off of 1, or coming out of 2, hitting that bump on the straightaway, and yeah, that was not anticipating the bump, how much I flew, got up to the top, and then on the back straight, hit that bump. And again, I got a lot of airtime, because I remember coming down on the bump stops and saying, "Yeah, this is a wrong rental car. I need to back off. This I'm going to I'm going to break the car or kill myself." But it was really fun. It was really fun.
No, I would certainly recommend, when you guys are out there, to consider it. I mean, I think we've been able to make it work safely for us. So it's probably more.
I'm pretty certain we've done it in ChampCar back in the day. They would do Mike Morrison would switch the track around. Now with Flagtronics, it's a little harder, but with a little bit of planning, we
do it. We're running Flagtronics.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think again.
That's kind of what screwed me up with this past week. When we were there, that was part of the reason.
Well, you know what? Maybe you can ask your audience whether they'd thumbs up it.
Yeah.
And for all the people that are running, our competition, our friendly competition, our friendly team competitions would give a thumbs up on it, because it's a lot of fun going down into 3, 2, 1 at speed.
Yeah.
Trust me. It adds a little more dimension.
Yeah. I mean, why not? And it's, I don't know if I can make those decisions yet. I think I can, but we'll see. We'll find out. All right, so we are going to, like I said, we're doing Harris Hill, and then we off to March 15th and 16th at NCM Motorsports Park. Always a great place to go to. Bowling Green, the Corvette Museum, racetrack right across the street from the Corvette Museum. So that's a great place to go if you have time. Go see that museum. Well worth it. And then we're off to Daytona International Raceway, March 29th for the 14-hour. That's always an an awesome event. It's one of the hardest weekends that we work because there's so many people and just so much going on, and everything is timed to the minute at that place. So, April 12th and 13th, we're at Gingerman for the Cookie Cutter Classic, and then off to Watkins Glen. Now, you guys went to Watkins Glen last year, didn't you?
We didn't make it. The rest of
Okay.
our other team, our
Right.
brother team, the Silver Bullets, I believe made it.
Right.
What?
And then Autobahn Country Club, June 14th to 15th, another small track, country club track that is just wicked fast and wicked fun to run. If you get a chance, go run that one up by Chicago, Joliet, Illinois. Sebring International Raceway, we're doing a 14-hour, not a 12-hour, but a 14-hour overnight, June 28th and 29th. Of course, June is always the coldest time of the year in southern Florida or central Florida. So that's why we're doing the overnight thing. Always fun to do. Get some nighttime racing in because, I don't know, to me, Sebring is classic at night. I just love racing there at nighttime. Then we're over to Carolina Motorsports Park, back on the schedule for this year, July 12th and 13th for an 8+7 hour. Ozarks International Raceway, August 9th and 10th.
Right. So I have to interrupt
Yeah,
you.
no, go for it.
For those who haven't done that track, I mean, it's one of those top tracks. It's a bucket list track. It's an amazing track. It's very challenging. You have to learn it. Once you get into it, it flows beautifully. It's very quick. Facilities are amazing.
Yeah.
We ended up renting a house by the lake and we had a blast. So I know that it's a little bit out of your way, but man, if you can make it out there,
Yeah.
it is probably top 3 tracks you can find in the US. Personal choice. So
Yeah.
we're going to make sure Zinnia comes along this time. She'll be in a house of like 10 old men, and we'll find no, it's amazing. And the guys there, the owner is fantastic. Facilities,
Yeah.
top notch. So
Yeah, we
come to Ozarks.
Yeah, we stay at the lake and big resort hotel, and it's, I don't know if that's the peak time of year. Normally we've gone there and it's been like not peak, so it's relatively inexpensive. But we'll get with Andrea to find out where we're staying, and lots of places to stay. And nothing's real close to it, but it's still fun. And then we're off to the 24-hour Classic is going to remain at VIR International Raceway. We're going to be running full course for that one. We thought about splitting it up, but it's just we had too many folks saying they wanted it there, and Chiswick said, "All right, let's do it there." Then Thompson Speedway for the Thompson 12-hour up in Connecticut. That's another one of those small tracks. It's one of America's oldest tracks. I don't know how that works, but they've been around forever. I think the oldest paved track. And that's always a fun one to go to. 12 hours of racing there. Then we're off to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in September 6th and 7th for the 8+7 hour. And we just got done with that this year, and that was a hell of a race. Were you guys there for that one in Mid-Ohio?
Oh, no, you're really calling me out. No, we had a Silver Bullet there.
Yeah, Silver Bullet. I knew somebody was there.
Yeah, we will. It's on we've already done a little schedule, Bill, believe it or not.
That's awesome.
So it took only a couple of hours for us to decide we're going to go there next year.
And then Harris Hill for the fall race, September 27th, 28th, 8+7 hour. Who knows which direction we'll go to? Maybe we'll just go down the front and back straightaway. Who knows? Pittsburgh International Raceway, October 4th and 5th. And then Road America, October 25 and 26. Now, I want people to understand that, if I release something and it doesn't have a typo, check on me, because I first put this out this morning and I had the October race as a typo. I had it like a week earlier. I blame Chiswick. He blames me. So we had our yelling and screaming at each other for a minute, and then I fixed it and everybody was good. But it is October 25th and 26th for Road America and Atlanta Motorsports Park. That is not a typo. We're doing 2 races that weekend. Of course, my staff start calling up, "Bill, you got a typo." No, we're doing 2 races that weekend. So half the staff will go up to Road America. The other half will go down to Atlanta Motorsports Park. And then December 6th and 7th, we're at Virginia International Raceway. And then we are going to, right after Christmas, Sebring International Raceway. And the format is to be determined. And if you know me, you know what I'm trying to do. So Sebring is going to be a fun weekend, I think. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say. We're trying something. We're going to try something, see if the track accepts it, and then if it works, you'll see it. You'll see a big announcement about it.
Come on, Bill, you can't tease us. Can you give us a clue?
No. But if you know me, you know what I like to do. So
that's why I'm worried.
Yeah, I know that does. And then of course the board of directors meeting, they're still determining where they're going to do that. I kept pushing for Daytona since they have the facility there to do it. Hopefully they don't send, I'm talking to the board now. Hopefully you don't do your board of directors meeting at a place where we have no internet, because that's how Bill just, yeah, just, because there's usually.
And please do remember, in the audience, you can vote for Bill Strong as a board of directors.
No, you cannot. I refuse.
That's not true.
No, you can, but no, don't. Please don't. I don't want that. I have a job. I have enough to do. I don't want that crap. Tell me where you want. Tell me the direction you want ChampCar to go in, and I'll help you get you there. That's the best way to do it. So so yeah, that's that. And speaking of board of directors, we had the nominations done. We had 4 people nominated that made the grade. Put that together last night. I've sent it off to the board. The board will go through their stuff, and then they'll send it back to us, and we'll put out publicly, and we'll start the election up at the end of the month. And yep, 3 seats up. Ray, Franck, and I don't know who else. Justin
Ray
Andrews.
Franck, he's my nemesis. So.
Oh, Ray loves looking at your car. He they're always trying to get stuff by me. And
you know, and we probably do, but that's an whole other story.
Yeah.
So tell us, Bill, what does the board do?
What do they do? I don't know. They keep everything secret. So being, in operations, we don't talk to the board. The board talks to Mike Chiswick, who's our CEO. CEO then lets me know what they need to do. No, the board just oversees the company. They put together action items that they want us to do. We've got a lot going on right now. There's a lot of stuff that, I see a lot of comments out there about how we're doing some things, but some rules that we put into place for next year. A lot of that, they don't really know the backstory yet. They will. Things are changing in ChampCar for the good. Some of our processes, some of the things we're doing, and the schedule. Part of that is, why isn't my home track on there? Why aren't we going to California? Why aren't we doing races in Hawaii or Alaska? As some of you guys know, ChampCar was not in good standing a year ago. We were how do I say this? Out of money? I don't know. But it was one of those things that, we've the board of directors and our staff got together. The board gave us a financial plan. We worked, Chelsea and I and others, we worked really hard on getting that. We had and on putting those into play, and we were able to bring the company back, and now we're actually pretty damn good position. So, which is really good, which has allowed us to actually upgrade some equipment that was really, I don't know if you've ever been to some of our races where our timing would go down or whatever, and it always sucks. Well, we've purchased all brand new timing equipment, so we've been able to do some really cool stuff. The first time we're going to use that is this weekend at Pittsburgh, so that'll be fun. So hopefully we'll be able to get a few more things out there for you guys to see. Flagtronics, we're upgrading consistently as you guys have watched over the years. But yeah, it's there's a lot going on, and unfortunately I can't say anything now about it, but you'll see some changes. We've talked about our numbering schemes. I see that on the forum a lot. We've been working on a way to streamline the way that we do our permanent numbers. So we're working on that right now. Actually, Chiswick and I were working on some stuff this morning, and that will be part of a small part of the bigger thing that we're looking at doing here for 2025. So it's a huge change, but it will be for the better. and lots of changes coming.
Very exciting. Again, I know you got a lot of people, especially in our community, that are very supportive of what you do. And we were a little concerned last year when you were sharing with us some of the challenges. So kudos to your team and the board to bringing it back to where it's at. And like I say, you'll see us showing up whether you like it or not. And
I love it.
it's always fun, and
Yep.
we're there with champagne and
Yep.
having a blast.
Yeah.
So very much looking forward to more stuff and seeing where Champ goes.
Yeah. And but yeah, it's been fun. We got a lot coming out. Got a couple of races coming up still. We have Pittsburgh this weekend. It's been raining and raining and raining so much here. I haven't been able to get out to my trailer. I know I even have t-shirt orders that have been placed that I haven't been able to fill because they're stuck in the trailer and the trailer's out in the rain. So I got to get those taken care of tomorrow, get everything ready for the Pittsburgh race on the marketing side and the media side, because Paul is coming to Pittsburgh. We'll be doing the ChampCar live show live from there. I think Billy Salen will be helping him out this weekend. And so we'll have in-car cameras, track cameras, the whole bit. Hopefully it doesn't rain, because, rain kind of screws up our electronics. I don't want any more of that screwed up. So, and there is a team out there with one of my in-car cameras. If you're listening, I'd like to have my camera back. Thank you. Thank you. I keep forgetting about that.
I saw it on eBay, so don't worry.
Yeah. They're being mass produced now somewhere in Asia. So yeah, it's I like to have that camera back, because we have 5 and for in cars, and now we only have 4. So, and one's not so reliable. But so we have that going on, and then we head to Road America. Unfortunately, I won't be able to go to that, and you guys know why. My kid's getting married. But we got a whole full staff of folks going out there, the whole bit. All right, one thing I want to ask folks. So this past weekend, when we were at Harris Hill 2 weekends ago, we had an issue with somebody kept telling me we had cars out there with code 45 on their Flagtronics units. And yeah, I was like, what? Of course, our staff made it sound like every car had it. Of course, it was only one car. So the SCCA has released firmware for certain classes, I guess, or some tracks that did have a code 45. Trans Am has a code 60. There's other series as well that have their own firmware. When you go to do your firmware upgrade, pick the organization and just pick ChampCar. That will be the one you want to use. You can use the default, which is right now 7.12.1, but just go ahead and pick the ChampCar one. And just if you go to SCCA and race, if you go to WRL and race, and then you come back to ChampCar, please just plug your device into Device Manager and pick the ChampCar. When you come back to race with ChampCar, pick ChampCar as your organization. And that way everybody's on the same page, and I'm not standing out in the track holding a little, what we call a hammer, trying to reprogram your stuff from the side of the track under code 35 conditions. You remember that? You saw me out there? No. Yeah, I don't like doing that. I like the air conditioning. So yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things. Please just pick the organization and choose ChampCar. It's a different firmware version. I think it's 2.6.1 or something, or 2.6.8. I don't know. Just pick that one, and you'll be good to go. All right, and I think that's it. You guys have anything else to say?
Oh, thank you for that very nerdy update.
Yeah, it is. Well, that's why you have the young engineer on your team, so she knows all this fancy computer stuff. So, do you guys have her?
The invite, and like I said, we love what you guys do, and we're big fans. So you'll see us around, and we're still having Zinnia as kind of our secret weapon whenever we go out there. It distracts the competition, and she everybody. So
she sits there. She doesn't flip her hair, and she's pretty badass when she gets out there, though. So, all right. Let me figure out how to do all this here. Brian has me saying all this stuff here. So I'm going to play some music, and I think, see if this works. Nope, that's not it. We're going to play this music. That's going to do it for another episode of Inside ChampCar. If you liked what you heard, subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any episodes. It would also be great if you could share it on your social media channels. If you can comment on the ChampCar Facebook page, especially if it's a good one, we have new episodes every week. I'm Bill Strong with Zinnia and Franck, and you're listening to the Racing Wire Podcast Network.